Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to Lost in the Pond, and this one is 6 major culture shocks I experienced in the US Midwest. And I mean, yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. We're going to check this out, hopefully you're going to enjoy. And yeah, links are in the description to my Patreon if you want to see extra reactions of mine that get blocked on YouTube. Same for my Instagram and my Twitter if you want to follow me on anything. But yeah, let's just get into this video.
And I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to culture shocks. Specifically, culture shocks that I, as a British man, experienced after moving to the Midwest of the United States. And I know what you're thinking, ooh, Lawrence, he's just going to talk about how terrible the snow is again, or how the temperatures are unfit for humans. No, I've done all that. The winter is over. It's time to get mad about something else. In other words, this is a fresh look at the things that I found weird after moving to Indiana and then later Chicago. Having moved to the Midwest 14 years ago from Britain, here are culture shocks I experienced in the Midwest. So, it's quite possible you've heard me talk about mosquitoes before and how...
See, I've had times where I've dealt with them and they've given me a hard night. I'd wake up and I've got the itchiest ankle. It's got bites everywhere. But I don't get it loads, and I sleep with my windows open and we don't have like nets over the windows. So if that's kind of a problem for me here, I cannot imagine how it is in
the United States. They almost
the
took
Midwest.
My face off.
Oh shit!
But the Midwest is known for other flying things that get in your face, and one of those things is gnats. And there's a very timely reason that I should talk about gnats, because about 2.7859 million of them ended up on my front porch yesterday. And for those of you asking, yes, I did initially think they were mosquitoes, and no, I didn't go out to greet them. But this is something that can just happen in the Midwest, right? Swarms of insects with wings just turn up out of nowhere, and you can barely move or see. Now, thankfully, unlike mosquitoes, I am told that gnats don't bite or even sting, which is weird because gnats backward is stang, right? Which sounds like sting. There's a gnat right there on my light. Got in. One of them got in. One of them, a Lone Ranger, is in my studio right now. Might even feature in the video. I don't know. That would be really meta, and also it'd be nice to have a guest, do a collab. I've actually got my phone. Look at that. I can't believe it. We do. We have what appears to be a gnat on my lighting equipment in the studio.
Perfect timing.
As we speak. Okay, well, he or she is just going to hang on my lighting equipment. In the meantime, those same gnats, presumably including this one, quickly got out of Dodge amid the following. As an Englishman, I know my fair bit about rain. After all, when we're born, British people are given a complimentary umbrella. But here's the thing, on the whole, we only face light rain. But one of the shocking things I discovered about the Midwest is it doesn't just rain, it pours.
Okay, it gets like this very rarely in the UK. There is sometimes like some heavy rain, like it can flood here and stuff, but it's nothing like, it doesn't happen that often, and it's never like insane amounts. Actually, there's been a few times where it has got like to the point where like it's gonna flood my garden, you know, but it's very rare that happens. It's like a special occasion, and also it's like probably because the drainage system is just bad, so it's not actually as much as it seems like it is.
The really weird thing about this type of rain is that it was sunny just 5 minutes ago, and it will be sunny again in 5 minutes.
That's England, to be fair.
Pops out of nowhere. I mean, in the south, I think they call it a sun shower. And for the most part, I actually really love this. And do you know why that is? Because I don't ever go outside. Watching it from my apartment window is actually quite a cathartic experience. But I've just realised I probably shouldn't talk about the torrential rain with my colleague just up there fixing the lights, because it might still have PTSD. And actually, it hasn't been all roses for me either, because I do remember there was this one time that I was standing waiting for a bus, and as I recall, I was dressed much the same as I am right now, right down to the pajama bottoms, when all of a sudden the clouds that weren't even there a moment ago decided to whip out their Super Soaker 5000. And this was in Indiana, so the problem was further exacerbated by this. Brits like me like to moan about the rain. But the
Where's the
truth is,
bus?
if we're standing at the bus stop and light rainfall happens to fall upon us and we're carrying our complimentary umbrella, we honestly don't know how good we've got it. But in the US, your umbrella is practically useless. And on top of that, so are the buses sometimes.
Okay.
You see, in America, people love their cars. But back home, I
think it's
never
for you.
required one because so long as you lived in a relatively large town, the bus systems, no matter how much British people might moan, are relatively comprehensive.
Yeah, buses like are what run the city, to be honest. Like, you come to think of it, and in the city centres, it's just buses galore. Like, you'll get buses that go to every part of the city. And I'm not in a major city, I'm just in like a decent sized city. But yeah, wherever you are, even in villages or towns, maybe not villages but towns, like buses will just be what sort of function the town, you know.
And when I say comprehensive, I mean that you can usually get a bus to the other side of town every 10 to 20 minutes. Here in the United States, I'm particularly thinking Indianapolis.
Not every 10 minutes. It's like every half an hour. I guess maybe in certain cities or like certain stops maybe it is, but I think it's like every 30 minutes. But then there's like different buses, like it'll be like bus 29 will go to a different... Bus 29 will go from where you are now to somewhere further along, but then bus 30, which comes to the same stop, will come in like 10 minutes time. It'll go somewhere else, but it'll stop where you need to stop, so maybe they'll stop at the same points, if that makes sense. I guess that's how it works in the US
I
as well.
often had to wait between half an hour and an hour. In fairness, I think they have somewhat fixed that problem in the last few years. But you would expect that, wouldn't you, of a relatively large city? In Anderson, Indiana, where I first lived, I don't think I saw a bus in about 4 years, even though I was told there was a bus system there. And so if you're moving to the Midwest from Europe, just know that you'll probably have to get a car or several. In Britain and
Never been
just,
in a
you know,
car
all
crash.
across Europe, there's a certain look to how people dress. It's that kind of European look. I don't know how to describe it because I'm not a fashion expert, but I think the clothes, generally speaking, are more sleek. We can afford to dress more sleekly. Is that a word? It better be a word. Because we obviously don't have temperatures that are more akin to Greenland. So in the winter, we can get away with, you know, a trench coat. Do people still wear those? I do, just not in the winter, because I live
never
in
wore a trench coat in my
Chicago.
life.
Here in the Midwest, specifically in winter, everybody dresses in the baggiest clothes you've ever seen. So baggy jeans, baggy shirts, baggy hoodies, baggy bags. And at first I thought this was weird, right? But after a week of living in the United
Makes sense.
States, I became a baggy clothes convert. And that's because back then everything was a novelty. So I wanted to be outside experiencing it all. But to do that, you have to dress up in about 3 layers of flannel. And for my
Yeah,
British
man, that sounds like an absolute pain in the arse. Like, even when it's really cold here, I'll wear like tracksuit bottoms, and maybe I'll wear like a jumper and a jacket, and a jumper, a coat, and then like a shirt. And that'll be the maximum of what I'll wear, and obviously like gloves and stuff. But usually in winter, I mean, it does get cold, like quite cold here, but not really cold. I'll just have a puffer jacket, like a nice warm jacket, and then just a shirt, and I'll be good to go. But obviously it depends on the day. But majority of the time I'll just wear a jumper around. As long as it's not raining and stuff, I'll just wear a jumper around in winterish, just like when winter's starting and when it's about to end. And I'll be good to go.
I'm not talking about washcloths. These days, I have reverted more back to my European ways, he says, sitting in his pyjama bottoms. But that's because I no longer go outside or interact with anyone. I can't speak for the rest of the United
cheese.
States, but if there's something I know about Midwestern cuisine, it's that they put cheese in absolutely everything. So you got
My girlfriend
cheese
will love
curds,
that.
mac and cheese, Chicago-style pizza, cheeseburgers, cheese just on its own, chili topped with cheese, and a food item that looks like
so
something
hungry
that
as well.
Indiana Jones would run away from, a cheese ball. And if that wasn't
Huh?
enough, one of the Midwest
Looks like
that
looks
Indiana
like hamster.
Jones
Like,
would run away from.
I was gonna say hamster food, but is that just like nuts and like grains and stuff? That's so weird. Is that just a cheese? I'm so confused. You got the crackers there, and yeah, that makes sense because you have crackers with cheese, right? But that's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. It looks like something you'd give to the birds, but I bet it tastes good. I just don't know what's going on there. I
From
guess
a
it's
cheese
just
ball.
nuts.
And if that wasn't enough, one of the Midwestern states to the north of me, Wisconsin, has sort of made cheese its entire personality. Wisconsin
Cheese,
produces more cheese than any other state in the union. It's got its own style of cheddar, ironically named after both the village and the cheese from England, and is even home to the unincorporated community of Cheeseville. Cheese. If you've been watching my channel this year, you'll know that the United States is absolutely jam-packed with regionalisms. Grinder is Boston slang. It's a word that is often used to describe a sub sandwich. It's often used to describe people who move from sort of colder climates in the US down to the south. I can't remember exactly what it is because we don't really have them in Chicago, so I don't bump into too many cougars. At least not this definition of the word. And the same is true of the Midwest. So for instance, when talking about fizzy drinks, Midwesterners usually refer to that as pop, whereas many other people in America say soda, or in the South,
I feel like my grandparents say pop
to mean any type.
Yeah, that's the weirdest one to me. How like it is just referred to as Coke in certain places. Like Coke to me is just Coca-Cola. Like, you know what I mean? But that's just how some people refer to it. That's how some people refer to fizzy drinks. That just baffles me.
Drink. I've talked about puppy chow before, which is something that humans in theory eat and is not in fact dog food. Regionally though, this goes by multiple different names, such as monkey munch, muddy buddies, muddy munch, reindeer chow, or doggy bag. And if you're ever in a situation where you're in a corridor and there's somebody coming toward you and you both do that thing where you're trying to get out of each other's way.
Oh my god, the most awkward situations. I've just sort of got to the point now where I will just stay in the same line and I'm not moving. But I know, even though I'm saying that, there's going to be a point where we're both having the same mindset and we're both thinking, okay, I'm going to stay here and you're going to move. And then it's just like, oh, well, last minute, no one's moved. So they're both going to move. Oh, mate, I hate it. The worst situation.
Will probably say, oh, whereas I've just learned to say, move. And how could I ever forget the word that my mother-in-law uses to describe what I refer to
Hoover.
just broadly as a hoover, which is a vacuum cleaner. My mother-in-law calls it a sweeper. Basically, there are just lots of Midwestern words that I didn't encounter until I moved to the United States of America. To learn more, watch my recent video, guessing the meaning of these Midwestern words. To have a padiddle, to take a padiddle, that seems sensible to me. In the meantime, that's it for this video. Let me know
There we go.
below if you...
The more you know, right? I love these videos. It's so fun to see just his perspective of getting used to this kind of stuff. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed. If you want me to do more reactions like this, let me know in the comments. I mean, I'd do them anyway. But yeah, until next time, like, subscribe. Peace.